Hello, my name is Hakon and welcome back to my channel and a little addendum video today, because a while back I posted a video where I compared and reviewed two very common options for webcams that people might choose between today, those being the Logitech StreamCam and the Logitech 922 Pro. And today, for comparison, I've also, and for reference, I should say, I've also added in the mix the Panasonic FZ1000 as well, which is the camera I usually use for my overhead shots onto my desk. And normally I use the StreamCam for my face, and I use the 922 as a backup or a third camera if I need three cameras for a setup. So I've got the Logitech StreamCam over here on this side. I've got the 922 over on this side and the FZ1000 in the middle. At the moment, the webcams are set to auto expose, auto white balance, and auto focus, and I'm recording them through multicam. And the FZ1000 is recording in 4K 30. And at the moment, I've got it set to f2.8 and 1/30th of a second exposure. Now, the thing is that in the normal video modes on the FZ1000, it doesn't do anything less than the recorded frame rate as exposure time. Whereas the webcams may do some kind of frame dropping once you get a very dark picture, because the thing I didn't show you last time and that I was meaning to show you today is the low light performance, which I forgot to run through in my previous video. So at the moment I'm sitting in my office. I have closed my Venetian blinds. It is still daylight outside, so it's still quite a bit of brightness from the outside. And at the moment I have the light in my ceiling, and I have also got a desk light over on the side that has a daylight color that is currently on. So I'm going to switch off my desk light, so now it's just the light in the ceiling, and I'm going to switch off the light in the ceiling as well, see what happens. Right, so what happens now is that the webcams, they are compensating for the darkness by increasing the brightness quite a bit. My Panasonic is getting quite dark because it doesn't start dropping frames, it just stays at the same exposure. I don't have my Panasonic set to auto expose right now, but then I'm only using that as a reference for how dark it is rather than to compare the results, I would say. Now, so one thing that you may notice now is that certainly it looks like it from the monitoring I have on my screen that the webcams have started dropping frames in order to keep up with a lower light. Do they do it to the same extent? I'll have to analyze the photos afterwards. I'm going to open up the blinds a little bit just to compare now, just to see what happens when I let in a little bit more light. So now I'm opening them almost fully. That's the Venetian blinds pretty much open. See how that compares to the earlier result. There's one more thing I can try as well. I'm going to block my window completely and then use various degrees of internal light in my room now to expose these cameras. So and the way I block my light is I have a cover for my window that is attached with Velcro. I'll just go and get that. So I have this cover that I can put on my window. Right. And now I've still got my door open. I'm getting a little bit of light in from the landing just outside my room. The Panasonic now looks completely dark, but I will also have a look and see if I can lift that up as well in post-processing. The webcams are still exposing a little bit, and this is also the light coming from my computer screen now. If I change to a white window, this is now a my file browser, which is white, showing up on my screen. I'm just moving it around. And it actually makes quite a big difference to the exposure now, what is on my desktop screen, because it does act as a kind of light for this low light situation. I'm going to switch on my desk lamp and aim it away from my desk and myself towards the opposite wall now. And I'm going to just remove my screen. So now I've got my desk lamp pointing away from me. I'll just close my door there. Also try dimming the light a little bit. Let's see. Now, of course, for the dimming, you might get some kind of banding because the LEDs are actually technically flickering. And you can see that, particularly, I think, on one of my webcams there, I can see the difference. Just going to increase the light again. And now I'm moving it the other way. Let's see. And now I'm going to put the light back on in the ceiling. Switch off the desk lamp. And now we have just the ceiling light, nothing else, and of course the screen as well, but now the ceiling light is the strongest light source. And then we go back to the mixed light of desk lamp and ceiling light. Okay. And then I also have an overhead light here. Let's see if I can find the cable for it, to have a USB powered lights up here as well, that I use to even out the exposure a little bit from the left to the right there. Okay, so that's on now as well. Okay, so that's that light off, that's that light on. Okay, so I think I got a few test results there, and I'll have a little look at them in post-processing and make a little video of it, and then I'll record a little thing at the end where I talk a little bit about the comparison between these cameras, because now they're both cameras, at least on the monitor I get in my multicam capture, they both looked very similar in their response to the low light, which I find interesting, but I'll go back and analyze a little bit and see if one behaves better than the other, if there is any significant difference that will be part of why you would choose one over the other. And then I'll record a conclusion at the end and see which one, which kind of behavior the different ones have, if it is indeed different. So I'll be back with that in a few moments. Right, so I'm back with some conclusions and observations from that test and from after editing the video. One thing that was very clear was that the StreamCam seems to respond better to the low light than the 922 by quite a bit. The 922 started dropping frames a lot earlier than the StreamCam did, and it was more noticeable, I think, all the way through. They both had quite strong banding issues when I dimmed my LED desk light, and this is something you need to be aware of if you're using a desk lamp as a video light. Most desk lamps that are not made for video, they will flicker when you start dimming them. So you always want them at full brightness when you are doing video, which of course is what you most likely would be using anyway. But just something to be aware of if you want to dim the lights. I did compare it now to the FZ1000, but of course one thing that the webcams would do that the FZ1000 wouldn't do automatically now was to adjust the exposure sensitivity. So one thing that cameras can do when the light gets low is that they actually increase the amplification of the signal that comes in, and which means changing the ISO in a camera. And of course, for this video session, I was using the same ISO for the whole way through on the Panasonic, which is why it didn't behave as well in low light as the webcams. But of course, if I adjusted the exposure on my Panasonic and the ISO rating and the aperture for the low light, that would be far superior than the webcams in that situation. Another thing I noticed was that the auto white balance on the 922 seemed to create more of a color flicker, a sort of a flicker of false colors than the StreamCam. The StreamCam overall has much better colors than the 922, and it's quite apparent when the light changes that it's trying to, the 922 changes more rapidly in the colors, some kind of false color flickering that can be a bit distracting. The StreamCam doesn't seem to suffer from any such issues. Also, when I went from darkness to the ceiling light being on, the 922 responded to the change in exposure much later than the StreamCam did. So the StreamCam much faster and also more accurate already with the color temperature and the exposure than the 922, which took a little bit longer to catch up. So all in all, I still think that both cameras are quite good, and they still have their pros and cons. But overall, I would say the StreamCam is, I would say, by far the better camera. If you want just one webcam for everything, and which can also do decent sound, as I found out in my previous comparison, it has better low light capabilities than 922. It has nicer sort of out of focus area, but of course it also has a more shallow depth of field, which is one of the strengths perhaps of the 922. And also I found that the 922 was sharper at close range than the StreamCam when I tried them last time. That might be a variability issue, but I do suspect maybe it's also the design of the camera. But low light performance also better on the on the Logitech StreamCam than the 922. So if I were to buy a new camera today, I might consider a StreamCam again. Of course, there are other options and newer options now, but if I were to select something that isn't the latest generation of webcams, I would happily buy another StreamCam, but I would not buy another 922. So that's my conclusion, I think, for this video, and I hope you found that useful or interesting. And if you did, please leave a comment, of course, in the comment section, and I'll see you in my next video. So thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.